As usual, please do not contact any of the people mentioned in this video. If you do, I will have to block and ban you from any of the channels that I run to show that I am not trying to incite a cyber mob. I don't want to block anyone, especially my viewers and supporters. I just want everyone to be aware of what has gone on. So please do not contact them by any means. Don't send them an email, don't contact them on Facebook, don't send them a tweet. Do not contact them, please. This is Adrian Shaw. Adrian Shaw is an assistant professor at Temple University's Department of Media Studies and Production. She is also the co-chair of the International Communication Association's GLBT Studies Special Interest Group. Shaw received her PhD from the University of Pennsylvania, where she studied the intersections of new media, minority representation, and qualitative audience research. Her research and teaching focuses on popular culture, representations of gender and sexuality, cultural production and qualitative audience research, video games and gaming culture, and identity and community construction via media consumption. In 2013, Shaw wrote an article for ADA, a journal of gender and new media technology. The article was called On Not Becoming Gamers, Moving Beyond the Constructed Audience. In the article, Shaw reveals that she has no idea why people use the term gamer, and she questions how useful gamer is as a term to the broader goals of feminist game studies. This was before the hashtag #NotYourShield, and in it she considers gamers to mean only white straight men. She finds this unrepresentative of the alphabet soup community, and she says, I use the insight offered by critical theories of identity primarily from a feminist and queer political critique of identity categories to disentangle the mechanisms by which the gamer identity is formed. She goes on to say that rather than argue that the gamer identity is too narrow or blissfully democratic, and she thinks it is neither, I assert that critical perspectives such as feminist and queer theory can offer an approach to video games that can focus more attention on the lived experiences of those who engage with these games outside of the dominant audience construction. Indeed, outside of identifying as gamers. This article was openly peer-reviewed at ADA Review, and the peer reviews are done by something that they call the Fembot Collective. Adrian Shaw is naturally a member of the Fembot Collective, along with the current president of DiGRA, Mia Consalvo. But the 2013 article is essentially a rehash of a 2011 article that Adrian Shaw wrote called Do You Identify as a Gamer? Gender, Race, Sexuality and Gamer Identity. I'll tell you why this article is important in just a moment. At the beginning of August in 2014, Adrian Shaw and Shira Chess organised The Playful is Political, a fishbowl conversation on identity and diversity in game culture. This fishbowl discussion was expressly organised for DiGRA, and is a pun of the common feminist phrase, the personal is political. Mia Consalvo, the current president of DiGRA, was also present. At this roundtable discussion, Shaw asked such questions as, how has feminist game studies influenced developers and games? Where's the impact outside of academia? She also asks, why do we see such tension between academics and game designers? Less of an issue with indies, but there are always some people in the industry that have similar questions until industrial logic takes over later, and how can we better intervene in industrial logics to disturb that process? How can academics bridge the gap to industry audience to help them to do different work? How can we disrupt the capitalist norms that facilitate this? This is Dan Golding, a freelance journalist and critic. Dan chaired a roundtable discussion for DiGRA Australia called Game Studies Australian Fringe, Communities, Critics and Conversation. On the 28th of August 2014, Dan Golding wrote a Tumblr blog called The End of Gamers. At the beginning of the blog, he explains that he's writing this blog entry as a reaction to what happened in what was dubbed the Quinspiracy. He goes on to say that gamer as an identity feels like it is under assault, and so it should. The traditional gamer identity is now culturally irrelevant. He says that the term gamer has become deeply bound up in assumptions and performances of gender and sexuality, and he attempts to prove this point by linking directly to Adrian Shaw's 2011 article. And on the very same day the 28th of August 2014, we were deluged by articles decrying the term gamer. Kotaku. Links directly to Dan Golding's Tumblr post. Rock Paper Shotgun. Links directly to Dan Golding's Tumblr post. Ars Technica. Links directly to Dan's Tumblr post. Even BuzzFeed. Links to Dan's Tumblr post. These posts were the direct cause of Gamergate. Before then, it was about the Quinspiracy and corruption and a lack of ethics in journalism. After Dan Golding's post on August the 28th and the 10 articles that followed, Gamergate exploded. This is apparently at least a 3-year-old discussion in the making, possibly even older. Industry insiders have been well aware for quite some time that they have wanted to bring an end to the term gamer. Adrian Shaw may well be the progenitor of this idea, but I can't be certain. All I know is that her work gave the idea academic legitimacy that was then disseminated through DiGRA and probably using the Game Journo Pros mailing list to orchestrate what they thought was going to be the death of gamers on the 28th of August 2014. Indeed, Shaw may have even triggered Not Your Shield, because her base assumption about gamers was that they were white, heterosexual, cisgendered, and male. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone who helped make this video possible. Without your endless support, your backing on Patreon, and the vast quantities of research that other people did and sent to me, I don't think this would have been possible. Thank you. And finally, I'd like to leave a note for the anti-Gamergate people. Who the fuck do you people think you fucking are?